Rock am Ring 2025. Ich freue mich, dass ich hier heute mit Tom von Fron The Path sitzen darf. Welcome to our little studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you doing?
All right, doing pretty good. Are we at, which one are we at? Ring?
Yes,
Okay, I was at Park yesterday. I keep mixing those up. But,
how was it?
Honestly, a show we'll never forget. It was amazing. Yeah, we played at the same time as Sleep Token, biggest band in the world. So it's like, that's not fun, but our show was amazing. So, and we were like, it was more than we ever expected, for sure.
I saw a post online that you weren't going to break up if you get a bigger audience than Sleep Token.
Can I curse? I'm going to curse so much. Sorry, I'm just going to do it because it's in me. But anyway, yeah, we were just fucking around. Like, like we met the Sleep Token guys. Like, they're awesome. Like, but yeah, we were just fucking around because we were sitting in the airport and me and Craig were talking like, man, we've been wanting to play Rock and Ring, Rock and Park for like a decade, and now we're finally doing it. And they put us last against the biggest band in the world. And we were like, oh, let's just make fun of it. Like, let's like have some fun. So we made that video. It got like 500,000 views, which were like, this is so stupid. And then we're like, we said beforehand, we're like, if this show is good, let's get another video of when Craig stands up. And then he looks at the camera like, fuck, now we got to stay a band. But anyway, yeah. So it was fun, but it was definitely like an incredible show. And looking forward to tonight. I hope people are still there because it's gonna be like freezing tonight. But
let's see if we can keep up with Rock and Park. There's a little rivalry going.
Yeah, all right. Well, there's definitely a very high bar, but I hear that Rock and Ring is awesome.
That's great. So let's get into it. How tired are you of having to talk about your breakup?
To be honest, we haven't really talked about it that much because no one knew, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't mind talking about it at all. So,
how did you make your choice? How did it happen?
It's just gotten to the point where we want to make sure that we are coming out on our best. It's a mixture of that. Plus, like, we're just getting older. I'm 38, which is crazy. I feel 18 in my head. But, I'm 38, and Craig's 38, and Drew's about to turn 38, and Nick is 35. Like we've been doing it for a long time, and I always looked at being in a band as, like, being a professional athlete, whereas, like, if you, join Bayern Munich, whatever, you're 18, you don't normally play past 38, so it's like, because then once you get there, like, I don't want our music quality to go down, because I think I know we're making our best music right now. Our last record, Euthanasia, and then our record Clockworked just came out. To me, those are our best records. And the biggest thing we get is you guys are breaking up when you're like bigger than ever, because like yesterday at Rock and Park, again, we played against the biggest band in the world, and we played in the indoor arena stage. It was full to the back. And we were like, we are going out when we're our biggest. And people don't do that. And that makes me want to do it more, where I was just like, let's announce, like, we're surprise releasing the record. And when we announce it, we say it's our final album, and then we're going to tour for the rest of the year, and everyone will have a chance to see us. And then that's it. And we go out making our best music, being bigger than we ever have. And we're still really close, and we're still really good friends. And like, I didn't want that to fall apart. And I want it to be like where you get older, and you're more tired, and you got less time for the hijinks of touring, and that leads bands to sometimes falling out. Right now, we're all very close friends, and it also leaves the door open that if in 5-7 years Rock and Ring wants us to come play, we can come do that if we want.
We'll hold on to that.
Yeah, please do. It's all good. So like, yeah, we're not thinking about touring ever again. We're putting the band, we are breaking up, right? And we're all at peace with that. And there's also a fun thing. Like, what sucks is, and that not sucks because like I'm involved in the music industry myself, and I do love that, and I'm passionate about that job too. But like, for my own band, everything is like, okay, cool, we did this, so then what do we got to do to get to the next level, and then from there, how do we get to play this venue? And like, no, we're just plugging in and playing, and like, you don't think about that stuff. And like, that's what we started doing as a band, was we just made music and played shows, and the business didn't matter. So now we don't give a fuck about it. Like there is no like strategy on how to get bigger and more popular. It's just fuck that. Let's just play songs and that's it. And that's how bands should be. You know what I mean? I know obviously it's easier to say that, but that's like what the core of a band should have started as, is we just play music, we're friends, and we play shows. And that's what it is now, and it hasn't been that since we started, which is cool, you know?
For me, the core of Stray is also like very political, very angry music that people can relate to and find like this outlet with. Where are you going to let your anger out now that Stray from the Path is not happening anymore?
You know, I wonder if a part of it, and I'm honestly just realizing this now, is like, I don't know if I'm as angry as I used to be. You know, I'm 38. I got 2 kids, you know, like, and I love them. I love being a parent, and like, it's definitely made me a little softer, you know, and I think the stuff that used to make me angry probably makes me a little bit more depressed, if anything, you know? So I don't know, like I'm going to find out the hard way, because I'm about to put myself out there. Cause I've been in, again, I mentioned I'm 38 so many times. I hate to say it out loud, but I'm 38. I started this band when I was 14. You know what I mean? Like 14 years old. And so I can't even picture my life without it, but I'm excited to picture my life without it. And I'm going to miss it terribly. Like I still love playing. It's the traveling is really hard. And like, you know, having 4 people be on the same page about everything is hard, you know? And, so I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm still going to be fucking angry about it because there's so much bullshit happening everywhere, like across the board. And I don't know how I'm going to treat that. And again, like the door could be open that if in 10 years you want to make a record, we can, if we want to. And there's no plans on that happening, but like, because we're on good terms, we can, you know?
And also we're not rid of you just yet. So let's talk about that album a little bit more.
Yeah. We're not broken up yet. We're broken up next year. So yeah, I'm here.
So you first announced and distributed Clockworked in a very, I feel like, unconventional way in the world we live in today, with like announcing it at Slam Dunk and selling it at March, giving it out. Why? Why do it this way?
So when I was growing up, you really only heard a single on MTV or on the radio, and then it just came out, and then that was it. And like, you had to go buy it and listen to it to see if you loved it. And, you know, one of my favorite bands is Deftones. And when White Pony came out, I only heard Chains in the House of Flies. And I heard that on the radio, and I saw the video on MTV late at night, and I skipped school to go buy that record. You know what I mean? And like, I could remember myself vividly going there and doing it. And then you just sit down and listen. And like, you're not on your phone. You're not fucking in your car. You're not fucking doing homework. You were just listening to the record. And, you know, again, I manage bands, and every band is different. And when one of the bands I work for starts to release a record, I look at what people are saying, you know, and there's 2 records that come to mind. And one was Counterparts, their EP, Heaven Let Them Die. That was also a surprise. It was a little different than Stray, because Stray, the whole point was we wanted records that if you woke up on May 30th and saw that we released a record, that you could go into your record store that morning and buy it. So that was important for us. With Counterparts, we didn't tell anybody. We told no one. So like, no one knew about it at all, because so when we started talking about it at Slam Dunk, it's because when you ship records to a store, that release list goes out to like hundreds, thousands of stores, and it leaks from there, you know. And like, people were seeing it leak because stores were just putting it up for sale. Like, what's the store in Berlin? Cortex Records in Berlin, and it's a big store in Berlin, but like, they put our record up for sale like a week early because they're just working fast, right? Anyway, so like, it starts to leak. With Counterparts, we told no one. We didn't put records in stores so that it was a complete surprise. And then when I looked at what people were saying about it, everyone was so happy that they didn't have to wait for it. It wasn't a single, and then a month later, another single, and then a month later, another single, because The second single never performs like the first. The third never performs like the second. And it's just, then at some point you get like 40-50% of a record before it even comes out. Another band I work for is Landmarks. And on The Darkest Place I've Ever Been, we put that out, and we put out a lot of singles. And that's a little different because they came to America and went on tour with Imminence, and America is still learning about Landmarks. So we wanted to have the music available for them so that if like, oh, let me check this band out, they could check out the new stuff, right? But I did see that people were frustrated that they had 4 or 5 singles before the album came out on an 11-track record, right? So that's something that now internally Landmarks were like, we're not going to do that again. You know what I mean? So we like the idea. So for going back to Stray, you know, I wanted to capture how I felt when I bought White Pony. And I wanted people to like get truly surprised by it. And even when it started leaking, we knew it was our final album. So we're like, they're still going to get that surprise too. And then it just became a, what the fuck just happened? No one releases a record and then breaks up. And then also tours and lets people know that we're done in a year. Like, and we're coming out with our best material, and we're coming out with our, you know, being bigger than we ever have. And then we're gone. You know?
And also it really fits, like going out with a bang, like being on top, like have the album, celebrate it, and have some fun.
Being on our version of On Top, you know what I mean? Like, we're not the biggest, like we never were going to be that huge band, like a Sleep Token or a Bad Omens, like kind of like we were never going to be that way because, you know, we don't sing, and you either love or hate Drew's vocals, you either love or hate what we talk about, and you either love or hate the music that we're playing, the style that we're playing. So like, we were never going to be that massive band. So, but as far as our career goes, like we're still playing the biggest shows of our career, and yeah, we're big for our standards, right? So like, and I'm happy about that. Another thing I always look at too is Quentin Tarantino, and he puts out, he's making his 10th movie right now, and he's like, and then I'm done. He's like, 10. He's like, a round number, 10 movies. I don't want to be the old guy that's just churning out shit because I'm getting paid for it. And I always like that too. So like, you know, again, a lot of some bands don't get to choose when they disband, and they don't get to choose how they go out in their own way. You know, people quit, and there's blow ups, there's deaths, there's all this stuff that like can affect you. We don't. Not us. And that's like a romantic thing about it. You know what I mean? It's like we're getting to leave our mark. Our records live forever. And, you know, again, if in 5-10 years, if it becomes larger than it ever was, and we have a demand for ourselves to play, and then also people want to see it, like, we'll do that. You know what I mean? Another band I manage is Poison the Well. And like, we just did a anniversary for their record, The Opposite of December, that came out 25 years ago. And when we did those shows, there's kids at the shows, 17 to 21, going off for a record that was made before they were fucking born. So, you know, Refused is another band, one of my favorite bands. And, you know, they broke up playing basements in America to fucking 50 people, and then came back and did Coachella. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, not that that's something we're banking on, but the window's open because we know that people are going to discover our music from the time we break up to whenever, and that's cool. Our record will literally live on forever. It'll outlive us, and that's cool, you know. So
I love that you're taking control over this whole situation.
100%. People don't have that, and I've seen bands that I love break up and not on their terms, and they didn't want to, and like, you know, forced retirement. It's like that's what people will call it, like a forced retirement, you know. And like shit happens, but for us, we got to call our shot, and I'm proud of that, and it feels good that people are going to get the best show from us because we know that the clock's ticking. We know that, you know.
So tell me one more thing then about like these best shows. Will you be coming back to Germany on this run as well?
We'll be back in November. We announce it on this week. We announced our final European UK tour. It's a month long. We're going to all the places that we love. You know, I know we're doing Cologne and Leipzig and Hamburg and Frankfurt. You know, are we close to Frankfurt right now?
Kind of.
What's your area of Germany?
We're like in the west of Germany. So Frankfurt's like 2 hours away.
Where do you go to shows?
Berlin.
Okay, we're playing Berlin.
We'll be there.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's sick. I'm trying to remember what venue it was. But we're trying to go to places that like there's a venue, I think it's called Botchkop, in Frankfurt. We played their supporting architects like forever. Or no, it was While She Sleeps. Maybe it was both. Regardless, we're so fortunate. We got to do all this cool stuff. But either way, we used to play there, and we always wanted to headline there. Now we're going to, so we're coming there. You know what I mean? We're going to go do the UK as well, and full European tour. We're trying to fit in Australia. We're doing like 7 or 8 US Canada shows, and that's it. You know what I mean? Again, like I have a family. Like Craig has his podcast. Like Drew opened a studio.
His child.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a form of his child. And then Neck is doing music videos. Neck, our bass player, his name's Anthony. We call him Neck. That's his nickname anyway. But he wrote a movie, and it's fucking incredible. Like he showed me, and I'm like straight up in awe of it. And he's like trying to go get it made. And I'm like, I want, not only do I want to go focus on my career and my family, I want him to do that. You know what I mean? I want to support him in that. I want the downbeat to be fucking huge. You know what I mean? I want Drew's studio to pop off. Like Stray has always been the heart of our lives, but then we're starting to branch off into other things. And the band has brought us all of it. You know what I mean? Like the downbeat doesn't exist if we don't have Craig join our band. You know what I mean? Like we were in a van, and and he was on the bench. I was sitting shotgun, Drew would drive, and then the bench right here was where Craig would lay down, and he was telling us about the podcast, the name, the logo, I remember him showing us the logo. So like all of that, like I never learned how to manage band. Like I didn't go to school. Like none of us went to school. School for me was, I managed my band. Again, like going back to like, we were never a popular style of music and never will be. Sorry, the knocking threw me off. But anyway, like we were never a popular style of music, but like, so I managed our band. Like no one cared, you know what I mean? Then we got a lot of opportunities because our friends would take us on tour, because like our friends' bands liked us and all that stuff. So like I learned how to manage our own band, which got me a career of managing other bands, you know what I mean? Which I'm very fortunate for. So like, I want to go nurture those other parts of our lives. Stray has been our fucking life for more than half of it, and like, it's nice to let, I've been my wife for 20 years. Now I don't have to leave her all the fucking time. You know what I mean? So
we're really excited to be part of this last chapter and welcome you back in all of our cities and all of our menus. I thank you for taking the time today.
Hell yeah.
And sit here with me and have so much fun on stage later.
Can't wait. You gonna be there?
I'll try.
12:20 a.m. It's hard.
I know.
I'm lucky. I'm gonna be there. And
yeah. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.